What is going on, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? It's me, McGardo, man. You know what? What's up, my diggity dogs? Okay, what's up, my diggity dogs? It's me, the young Mike, and I want to do, I guess this is a review of Kotaku's review of the PS5. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna dive right into it. Okay, I want to say this, that I actually done a video of me reading off this full entire review, and this is a long review of like 3,000 words. Okay, long review. I sat here and I done like a 20-minute recording of me just doing nothing but reading this off, and I just don't think that you guys would be generally interested in reading, or not reading, but just watching me read all of this off. Okay, I just don't think you guys would, so we're probably not going to upload that. Anyways, though, this review itself, all the way up into the final section of this page, this review is, I thought it was a pretty well done review. I won't lie, I kind of skipped over the DualSense controller review, because it's something that I don't really care about. It's another controller, man. I mean, I guess that's kind of like saying, oh, you know, it's just another console. But no, it's just another controller. You know, the features, I've already read about the features 100 times, so I just kind of skipped over that. But, you know, all of the stuff that I read up until the final section of this quote-unquote review was good. It was good. PS5 interface, it goes into games, it goes into SSD, it goes into, you know, like I said, the controller, it goes into price point, it goes into size of console, the weight of the console. I mean, it goes into so many different things. The games, you know, high definition, 4K gaming, frame rates, all of that stuff. It goes into all of that. You know, it's even got like loading time comparisons between the PS4 and PS5 with different games. Like, it's crazy. Okay, it goes into so much detail, and it's like this is a review. But then you get all the way up, or not all the way up, all the way down to this final part here, this final section that states, but does it really matter? Okay? And then it just turns into something that's not even a review. It turns into, it just completely shies away from what it means to be a review. Okay? And I'm going to read it off for you guys. Alright? So, but does it really matter? This review has spent 3,000 words talking about the PS5, which is the most I've written about anything. It's as good a video game console as there has ever been. The combination of Ultra HD video, increased frame rates, high-end graphic techniques like ray tracing, and the SSD make it feel like a real deal next-gen successor to the PS4. And if you're not ready to give up on that previous console, the PS5 reliably runs a vast majority of the PS4 library, with many of those games receiving upgrades to fidelity, frame rate, and loading times. But I'd be remiss to ignore all the reasons not to be excited for the PS5. The world is still reeling under the weight of COVID-19 pandemic. Okay? There are more Americans out of work right now than at any point in this country's history, with no relief in sight. Our healthcare system is an inherently evil institution that forces people to ration life-saving medications like insulin and choose suicide over suffering with untreated mental illness. As I'm writing this, it looks very likely that Joe Biden will be our next president, and yes, it has been confirmed or called that Joe Biden will be the next president. But it's clear that the worst people aren't going away just because a new old white man is sitting behind the desk, the Resolute desk. Well, at least not this old white man. Our government is fundamentally broken in a way that necessitates radical change rather than incremental electoralism. The harsh truth is that, for the reasons listed above and more, a lot of people simply won't be able to buy a PS5 regardless of supply, or if they can, concerns over increasing austerity in the US and the growing threat of widespread political violence supersede any enthusiasm about the console's SSD or how ray tracing makes reflections more realistic. That's not to say you can't be excited for those things. I certainly am on some level, but there's an irrefutable level of privilege attached to the ability to simply tune out the world as it burns around you. I won't deny that video games can be an escape. It feels great to lose yourself in a fictional world where you can fix everything. Some of us see a strength or personality trait in video game characters that we wish we saw in ourselves. As much as it sucks for real-world problems to intrude on that space, I found it increasingly difficult to focus on video games amid our current situation. Many nights, it's all I can do to play a couple runs of Spelunky before collapsing into bed for a few hours of doom scrolling and restless sleep, and I know I'm not alone in that feeling. We are collectively tired, and for good reason. Sony and Microsoft chose a hell of a time to release their next-gen video game consoles. I think the PS5 is a great machine, but it's tough to recommend when folks are literally fighting for their lives while residing in the richest country in the world. I was very lucky to receive a PS5 for the purposes of this review, despite the fact that I'm comfortable enough to have bought one on my own. If you're in the same boat, I encourage you to grab the console and see what it's all about for yourself. If you aren't, don't feel like the PS5 would change your life. It's a video game console, and it's not going anywhere. I'm looking forward to a time when we can all chat about next-gen gaming on equal footing without a dozen daily crises looming over our heads. Until then, let's focus on what's truly important, even if that means dipping out of the next-gen hype machine for a bit. Okay. Hold on, let me take a sip of water. Remember, kids, drink plenty of water. It keeps you hydrated. Dehydration is very unhealthy. So remember, drink water, stay hydrated. Okay, so where do I begin? We'll just start right here at the beginning. It says here, the world is still reeling under the weight of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, he's bringing up the pandemic. I'm just curious. What does the pandemic have to do with the PlayStation 5? What does that have to do with reviewing a PS5? Okay. Let's see, there are more Americans out of work right now than at any point in the country's history with no relief in sight. He's bringing up the issue of unemployment. What does unemployment have to do with a review of a PS5? Okay. Our healthcare system is an inherently evil institution that forces people to ration life-saving medications like insulin and choose suicide over suffering with untreated mental illness. Okay, so what does our awful healthcare system here in the States have to do with a PS5 review? What does mental illness have to do with a PS5 review? And then it goes on to talk about the next president. Joe Biden will be our next president. What is the next president? What is even the current president? What does government have to do with the reviewing a PS5? What does any of that have to do with reviewing a video game console? Okay. Okay. He brings up, where's the whole, let's see. Where was it? Let's see. He brings up what is this? Political violence. There it is. The growing threat of widespread political violence supersedes any enthusiasm about the console's SSD or how ray tracing makes reflections look more realistic. Okay? So the question here is, what is politics as well? Which I guess that also plays a role. Politics is also kind of, mixed in with government and healthcare system and all of that stuff. But what does politics in general have to do with reviewing a video game console? It has nothing to do with reviewing a video game console. Why is that even brought up into this so-called review? It starts out as a great review and then turns into something that's not a review there towards the end. So, it also seems like he's saying that we should be excited for next gen, but we also shouldn't be excited for next gen because of issues such as the pandemic, such as our horrible healthcare system here in the U.S., such as unemployment, such as mental illness, such as Joe Biden, such as, violence going on, political violence going on, real world issues. We shouldn't be looking forward to, new technology coming out because of all of that. that makes me think of, specifically whenever he brings up the COVID-19 pandemic, it makes me think of this video that I done a few days ago. It was discussing how people were getting offended about a Best Buy advertisement, and some people were getting offended because Best Buy was doing an advertisement advertising early Black Friday sales during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I was just like, it's the holiday season. This is the time of the year that these companies, they want to put out these advertisements to go and entice people to get on their store, to get on their website or go to their store and purchase products. And you expect a company not to advertise sales that they're having just because of the coronavirus pandemic? I just find that stupid, especially since it's the holiday season. And then not only that, but it's like, it's a company, companies, these businesses, they're not out here to kneel down before your insecurities and you're just, your little feelings. They're not there to bow down and kneel down to you. Okay. Businesses are out to make money, and you expect them not to advertise, the sales that they have going on just because of the pandemic. And that's kind of how it is here. We shouldn't be looking forward to the PS5 just because of the pandemic. I mean, if it's, to be totally honest, if you want my opinion, I feel like it gives it even more of a reason to look forward to the PS5 and the new Xbox, because it gives something positive to look forward to. All of these things, the healthcare system, unemployment, mental illness, COVID, I guess Joe Biden as well, government, politics, all of that stuff that he brings up here, all of that stuff can be conceived as negatives. And I get that. Those are problems. Those are real world problems. But it doesn't have to sway our attention from next gen technology coming out, like the new PS5, new Xbox, new smartphones as well, new smartwatches too. I mean, what's next? Like smart glasses. Like, I mean, just because all of that stuff is going on in the world right now, it's like we're not supposed to be excited for the PS5 and all of the other things that I mentioned as well. No, just because that people in the world are struggling and there's violence in the world doesn't mean I'm going to not look forward to something or be excited for something. No. I mean, unemployment has been a thing for ages. Yes, I know it's at a high right now, don't get me wrong, but unemployment has been, people have struggled with unemployment for years. Ages, decades, centuries, okay? Not only that, but mental illness has been a thing for decades. I mean, centuries. Like for an entire human, for the entire human timeline, mental illness has been a thing. Healthcare here in this country is awful, and I know this, okay? And it's been this way since before 2020, since before PS4 and Xbox One came out, since before the 360 and PS3 came out. Before all of that, the healthcare system here in the U.S. has been garbage. Don't get me wrong on that. Unemployment, has been a bad thing for ages as well too. Not just this year. Pandemic, I know the pandemic is new. COVID-19 pandemic is new, so I mean, I get why people are freaking out about that. But even so, just because the world is struggling right now, just because people in the world are struggling right now, it means that we're not supposed to look forward to new stuff. It's like he's saying that we're not supposed to, look forward to new positive things. No, man. No, I mean, people have been struggling throughout the entire human timeline. Ever since that, however the hell that humans were brought upon the earth. I mean, that just goes into, religious views, or, if you want to get into like the Big Bang Theory or all of that stuff. Anyways, that's completely off topic, but ever since that human life has existed on this planet, these mental illness has been a problem. Okay? Mental illness has been a problem. Healthcare system, specifically in the States, has been awful for a long time. Unemployment has been awful. I mean, here recently, but you guys get the point. What I'm trying to say is every day is a new struggle for people. And just because yesterday was a struggle or tomorrow is going to be a struggle, it means that we shouldn't look forward to something positive for a change. Like I was saying, though, throughout the entire timeline, if I can never talk, of human beings, we've all struggled. I'm about positive that, like, the first human beings were struggling to adapt to to live, to survive out in the wilderness. I mean, back what was it, 2008, 2009, the economy was struggling. People were struggling then. Does that mean that at that time we shouldn't have been looking forward to, like, new technology coming out then? Back in, like, the 1930s, whenever the Great Depression was going on here in the U.S., should we have not looked forward to tomorrow? I mean, like, hypothetically, like, let's say that this was like the 1930s and the Great Depression was going on, okay? And let's say that you was there in the Great Depression. Just because people are struggling, just because you're struggling, it means that you shouldn't look forward to, stuff that's coming in the future, or it means that you shouldn't look forward to tomorrow. I feel like the more I talk about it, probably the more I'm confusing you guys, the viewers, but I can just keep talking about this. All the way up to this point, I will say that this review was really well done. I'll leave a link to it down below in the description if you guys want to go read it. But all the way up to this point to where he brings up politics and real world problems, it's like none of this has anything to do with reviewing a PlayStation 5 video game console. None of it has to do with reviewing a PS5. And honestly, typing out like this last section here was nothing more than just a waste of time. Just to be totally honest. I wouldn't have included any of this stuff in this review. I would have just ended it off by saying something along the lines of, now, I'm done with my review. Does this like sway whether or not you'll buy a PS5 or something? I just ended off like that. Not bring up freaking politics, not bring up the pandemic, healthcare system, Joe Biden, government, violence in the world, all of that stuff. No, man. No. I'm just going to end it off here. Link down below to this in the description, okay? Link down below in the description for this review. Link down below in the description for that Best Buy video that I was discussing. You guys can go watch that too. Just, if you guys want to go check any of the stuff out. If you want to check out the review, I mean, this was a good review, like I said, all the way up here till this final part where he brings up politics and problems in the world that we're facing. Anyways, thank you all for tuning into this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Did you guys enjoy? I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you guys. Stay beautiful. Do not go ugly on me either, man. And remember, stay excited for next gen. Stay excited for new technology, man. Just because there's real world problems out there, you still got to look forward to the future. I love you guys, though. Stay beautiful. Do not go ugly on me. I'll see you all in the next one. See my finger? Next one. Talking to you.